Woo! What's going on, guys? Orm Swarm coming at you guys today with another video. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about Dan Campbell and how he addresses the SOL. Now, you guys know what the SOL means. Same old Lions. Used in a variety of different ways over the years. Some are right, some are just all over the place. I'm going to kind of talk about how Dan Campbell addressed it, and then maybe I'll throw in some 2 cents too, and kind of just go over how he addressed it. So I want to just say a couple of quotes from Dan Campbell. I think he was talking to Peter King from Sports Illustrated, addressing the SOL. And I'm making this video today because I kind of like the way finally we have a head coach here who kind of addresses it. From over the years, guys like Moringweg, Caldwell, Patricia, they didn't talk about it too much. From what I can remember, they didn't really want to get into it. They thought it was just a joke, which a lot of it kind of is in a way. But they just didn't really want to talk about it. They kind of shied away from it. I can't really recall a lot of Lions head coaches in the past that have really addressed it. And I'm glad that Dan Campbell talked about it. But I'm going to go over a quote. I think there's 2 quotes it's one big quote, but let's talk about it. This is what he said to Peter King. I just think I've got guys like Rich Strike. If you don't know who Rich Strike is, he's the guy that won, he's the horse, I believe, that won the Kentucky Derby that never should have won. It was like a 1,000,000,000,000 odds, and he went out there and won. So he's kind of referring to his guys kind of like Rich Strike. Every time we hear SOL, same old Lions, and all this stuff, I think it fuels our fire. We love it. I think that's how we all feel. That's how we all talk. That's how we think. There's nothing fake about it. So that's kind of like the first blurb he says about it. And I love it because, first of all, he's not putting down his players saying that, they're all kind of similar to Rich Strike. Because Rich Strike was I don't know what he was, 1,000,000,000,000 odds to win the Kentucky Derby. So, but he was a go-getter. A guy a horse that went out there, had no business winning, and went out there and won. Heart of gold. Everybody laughed at them. Everybody laughed at that horse. Like, what's this horse coming in at the last minute and wins the Kentucky Derby? So we got guys like that with hearts of gold, tough, that will win at all odds. That will try their damnedest to win a football game or a horse race in that matter. And then he says it fuels our fire. I love that too as well. I'd be, if I was a head coach, I would literally be putting the word S or the 2 words SOL all over the locker room so everybody can see it. Because, it is a little bit of a joke. It's, I got friends that talk about SOL. People don't know what it really means. Yes, it means same old Lions, but people apply it to everything the Lions do. Like Brad Holmes makes a free agent move and picks up a Deshaun Elliott, right? Picks up a Deshaun Elliott, a guy that pretty decent football player. He's trying to get him on a 1-year, 2-year deal. But I have buddies that will text me, "What an SOL move!" Like what do you mean that's an SOL move? Like I don't even think you even know what that means, bro. Like explain yourself what SOL means, because you don't even know what the hell it means. You're just typing SOL just to type it. Personally, when I talk about SOL, same old Lions, it's the way they lose football games. Like play tough for about 3.5 quarters, get in there, maybe come back down by 7, tie it up, and then win on a 66-yard field goal like they did last year against the Ravens. To me, that's SOL. That's the same old Lions. Like, not being able to close out a game like that, not being able to stop a guy from throwing a 21-yard, 4th and 21-yard ball that was just thrown up for grabs, like Lamar Jackson did and caught for 22 yards. That's kind of SOL. That to me rings more true SOL. Not like, us drafting Penei Sewell. I've had buddies Like, oh my God, you drafted Penei Sewell? That's so SOL. Really? Like, he's one of the best offensive tackles in the draft coming out, and it's SOL. You don't even know what SOL means. Shut up. You just don't know what it means. And I love the way they say it fuels the fire. I just love that because it should. Because it's not really it's not really a demeaning thing to say, but it's annoying. SOL is so annoying, it's incredible. People just use it just to use it, like I've been saying, and they just don't really know how to use it the right way. Like, SOL isn't raining on a Wednesday. Oh, it's such an SOL day. Such an SOL day. It rained on a Wednesday. Oh my God, a bird just shit on my car. Oh, that's SOL, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how some people, I'm exaggerating, but that's how some people do it. Like, it's incredible. Use it in the right terms. I know half of you won't. Lions fans, most Lions fans know what it means. It's not the Lions fans that I'm even chirping at here. It's the other like buddies, like other writers, sports writers that just sometimes they just don't even know what it means. It's funny to me. And then he follows it with, I know that people are probably tired of hearing the foundation of hearing foundation and the culture, but I do feel like we set that in year one. I do feel like that for us was the primary goal. We have to create our own style, our own identity, our own culture of who we are, what we accept, what we don't accept, and now let's build from there. Now in year two, we feel like we have that foundation built now. Let's start stacking on top of it. I love this quote too as well because now he's talking about foundation and culture, okay? Now, there's some people out there that will just say, how can you talk about culture when they're not winning? It's not a winning culture. Of course you have to build a winning culture. That's not the argument here. That's not the case. When they talk about culture, when these two men, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, talk about culture, it's talking about in the building, what they want. It's talking about unity. It's talking about all the other things that makes a football team gel. The winning comes when you build culture. You can't build winning culture right away. It's madness. It's stupid to even think so. Because you're not automatically going to win, right? You have to build culture first. Then the winning comes next. That's what people seem to get confused about. And Dan Campbell nails it here. He nails it. He can't make it any clearer. Foundation. You got to build a foundation before you're successful. You have to build it and then people will come. You know what I mean? And then the culture comes with it. The winning culture comes later. The winning comes later. But you have to build the culture first in order to win. And Campbell explains that. In year one, they set those goals. They brought in guys who they wanted to be here. Okay, for 1-2 year deals. Guys that weren't on their last legs, but young, mostly young guys that had some promising careers. Maybe some guys that got hurt, still got that fire in them. Guys that love football. They drafted players that love the game of football. Coaches. Most of this whole coaching staff is former NFL players from top to bottom. They're everywhere. They're littered all across the room. All guys that played in the NFL. That's building something. That's building a foundation. That's building a culture. And then the winning comes next. It has to come next. And then I like how he says primary goal. We kind of went over that. Then we have to create our own style, kind of get our own identity. Their own identity is beating the hell out of people. That's what their identity is going to be, a tough football team. That's what they want to be. Dan Campbell is a guy that you probably would never want to run into in a dark alley. I don't think you even want to run into Brad Holmes, man. This man ain't little either. These guys are true dudes, man. These guys are dudes, man. Dudes. So their whole thing is building an identity, toughness. They want to win. They care about the game. They care about each other. Respect. It's all about that, man. It's all about that. And then what we accept and what we don't accept. I love that too, because they're not going to accept mediocrity. They're not going to accept slackers. We saw that with Jamie Collins last year. Good linebacker, but it looks like he literally cashed his check in on that Green Bay game. That was the Monday nighter, and then the next day or two he got released because he was lollygagging around on the field. And he was literally probably our best defensive player last year was Jamie Collins. And they showed him the door. That's what they don't accept. They don't accept that kind of play. Now, we're 3-13-1 last year. So I'm not trying to say, man, this is how you build it. This is what you got to do. But this is a start to something. This is a start to something. And it erases all that SOL garbage. But it's always going to hang on. The SOL is always going to linger until this team does something. They have to start winning. But you got to build and build and build. You build the foundation, you build the culture, and it all starts coming together. And then when they say, let's start stacking on top of it. That to me, and I'm just kind of guessing here, let's start stacking on top of it. That means let's start getting the players here. I think that's basically what he's saying. Now we start getting players on top of it. They have the coaching. They got a good majority of players that love the game of football. And I've seen Jared Goff going on podcasts saying, and this is kind of, he said one thing that kind of like made me, whoa, put the eyes up, ears back. He's like, guys are on this team that aren't just necessarily playing for the check. Like they're like, of course, it's their job, it's the business. They're feeding their families. They all, you make money being a professional athlete, football player, whatever. But when he said that made me tingle. I was like, whoa, it kind of hit me. Was he being legit? Was he being real? It sure seemed like it at the time. It sure seemed like it when I watched that podcast. I forget what podcast he was on. But that's the kind of guys that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell want on this team. And that was surprising coming from a guy like Jared Goff. I actually loved hearing that. Just seen it the other day. I was like, there's guys here that just don't, they just don't care about the money. Like they care about the money, obviously, but they're not just here to cash a check. They're here to win, and they actually care about their team. They care about their teammates. They're working their butts off. I love that. So Dan Campbell addresses the SOL. It's always here. It's going to fuel that fire. I hope they have that painted all over the damn locker room, man. SOL. So I think it's a motivator because it's got to end. It has to end, and I love that Campbell addressed it. Now the winning has to come soon. I think they're going to win more games this year. We'll get into that. This isn't about that right now, but that has to come next. They have to start winning this year. They got to win more than 3 games. They have to. They have to at least double it or more. They have to. And that's it, guys. That's the video. Screw you, SOL. One pride. Go Lions. Let's go. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell on my videos. Don't forget to like and comment. Thanks for paying attention, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Love it. One pride. Go Lions. Ba-boom. Let's go, baby.